Hey everyone, welcome to the Yoga in Black podcast. If you're not new, however, welcome back. I'm Tierney, your host, and this show is all about the experiences of Black yoga and wellness professionals. Each episode, I'm joined with a new guest, and we'll just have a conversation between two peers about our experiences within the yoga and wellness industries, and also highlight where you can find their classes. At the forefront, this show is all about letting you know that Black folks are out here in this wellness industry doing amazing things that you can experience. So with that said, grab your favorite beverage. You know I got mine in the favorite mug. And let's have a chat. This is your friendly reminder that all episodes of this podcast are pre-recorded and some topics or events discussed may be outdated. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Yoga in Black podcast. Again, my name is Tierney. I am your host, and today I am joined with Mars Bradley, and I'm going to shut up and just let him talk about himself here. So go ahead, Mars, take it away.
Hey, what's going on, people? I hate talking about myself, but I'll do it here. My name is Mars Bradley. I am a yoga instructor, 200-hour yoga instructor. I also do guided meditation. And I also am a Reiki, I guess you could say Reiki master. I don't like to use the word master, but I guess I'm a Reiki, third level Reiki instructor. I specialize in yin, restorative yoga, very calming, relaxing. I'm all about trauma healing and healing those wounds. So I feel like that's the best medium for me. Originally from DC, born and raised, I am now in Raleigh, North Carolina. Yes, it's a little different, but I'm here. So that's what I do every day, all day.
Nice. How many classes are you at a week?
I am at, let me see, 3 classes on Sundays, Monday, Tuesday. I'm at about 8 classes throughout the week.
That's a good balance.
The only day I don't have classes on Wednesday.
Nice.
Because I ended up moving that to a Saturday. Before it was all Saturday, I didn't have class, but then I moved that class to a Saturday to accommodate my clientele. But yeah, so the only day I don't have classes on Wednesday, and I do at least 2 classes a day. So
nice.
Yeah.
And everything's in person, or do you have some virtual offerings?
Yes. So right now, everything is in person. I'm working on getting my site back. I mean, my site is up, but getting everything as far as virtually. Because that's where I really want to go to, because I feel like I can reach more people virtually. So I do meditation and yoga. I was doing it virtually, but then I got kind of like out of it for a little while, and I started doing it in person because I moved and I want to kind of get my name out into the community. So I started doing more community events and kind of push the virtual to the side. But I'm definitely getting back in the virtual. I love doing the virtual. I love connecting that way. Everything from IG Live to Facebook Live to actual, like, on my website. I just love it. I love virtual better than actual in person sometimes.
Yeah, it's a weird medium to use because it does allow you to connect with so many people that you wouldn't be able to have access to.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a little bit of that interpersonality out of it.
Yes.
Is that the right word? Did I even say it right? Either way.
Well, we're gonna use it right today. That's I
like to make up my own words, so we'll add that to the vocabulary.
Right, but I understand. See, I was right there with you. I understand what you were saying. But yeah, so I think that virtual is cool, and like I said, because I'm trying to build, it helps as far as reaching like the masses. Like I can reach people in different countries and all this all over the place. But it's nothing but that in person it's just totally different. You know, because sometimes I'll do a live and I know people are in there, but I can't see them and they're not responding. So I'm like, I'm just talking to myself.
Yeah.
So then I'll say something like in the live, like, this may not resonate with you. This is me just talking to myself because I literally feel like I'm just talking to myself. As opposed to when I'm in person, I can look into their eyes. I can see that they're connecting. I can see that, okay, this is working. This is not working. So I need to pivot to this. So I need to do this. I need to do that. But I mean, virtual is the way it's going because I got my 200-hour during COVID. Then I had to do everything virtual. So I really am just really getting into in person and the differences. So I'm great virtual. But in person is like, okay, I gotta get used to people actually not understanding what I'm saying. And actually like, okay, I have to actually connect with people a different way. So but it's a learning experience, but it's growing on me.
Oh yeah. I need to get back into offering some virtual things myself
Yeah,
because
it's fun.
yeah, I really do miss the groups that I had through the pandemic because we had fun.
Yeah.
Because what else were we gonna do?
Right, we had nothing else to do. We were stuck in a box. So what else were we gonna do but connect online and talk and play and make jokes and play games and all kinds of stuff. So.
Exactly. So tell me a little bit about the journey that you have had through yoga. Like when did it start and what was your first experience like?
Oh man, my yoga journey started back in, I want to say 2000, 2001. It started from an injury because I played baseball in college. Well, all through like, little league and all that up to college. And I got injured my senior year. So kind of sucks. So my physical therapist was like, hey, so I started going to physical therapy, and my physical therapist was like, hey, you should try yoga. It help with your flexibility. I'm like, yoga, whatever. It looks stupid to me. I don't know if this is going to work. So he was like, look, it really works. It really works with your flexibility, really helps you. So I started going to yoga class and I signed up for yoga. It's supposed to be a beginner's class. Uh-oh. And of course, I get there, it's subbed out to this other teacher. And this person is doing handstands, backflips. They're yelling out these poses in Sanskrit. And I'm like, what is going on? Mind you, I didn't even own a yoga mat. Like I literally had to go buy a yoga mat right before class. Like I didn't know anything. And they're yelling out. So I'm like, I'm never doing this again. Like, no, this is not it. This is not for me. I'm never doing this again. So about 3 years goes by. No yoga, nothing. A friend of mine comes to visit and she's like, hey, I'm about to go to this yoga class. You want to go? I'm like, no, never. I'm not doing that.
It's like a flashback to that memory.
Right. But because she's my guest and this is what she really wanted to do. I'm like, I'll just go anyway. But this time the class was a yin class. And it was really restorative, really stretching, really slower. And the instructor was great. They were yelling out like different stuff, but they were explaining stuff. We had modifications. I was like, oh, this is what yoga. Oh, okay. I get it. So I guess my yoga journey started like 2003, 2004. And I was just doing my own practice, just doing my own thing. And then I decided, you know what? Because people were asking me, hey, you're doing yoga. Can you show me this? Can you show me? And I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to get certified in this so I kind of know what I'm talking about. So I did the certification. It started before the pandemic. So we started like January. And we were in a couple classes. And then boom, March hits. And we're all at home. And the way that studio is, she's very hands-on. So it didn't translate very well to virtual at first.
Yeah.
So it took a while. We ended up actually stopping the program for like 2 months because she was like, I need to figure out what I need to do to get this going. So we did that. And that's when my love started. So I started teaching and I've always been doing meditation and breath work. That started with therapy. It started doing meditation and breath work. And what happened was I used to record myself so I could listen to myself. And then my cousin heard the recording, was like, yo, you need to send this out to everybody. So I started sending it out to the family first. And then that kind of expanded and I started just doing meditation all the time.
That's so dope that you got your family involved. I'm working on doing that too. And it's been challenging to figure out how to get all our schedules in line. But
yeah, so what I do, like as far as the yoga, no. With that. But with the meditation, I just record like a quick 5-minute meditation. I'll drop it in because we have like a group chat. I'll just drop it in there. and let them do what they will with it. Like, because I tried this through the whole scheduling, and this person can't do it this time, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna record it, send it, you listen to it when you can, let me know. And so they just, listen to it when they can, and they let me know if they heard it, or what they liked, what they didn't like. So I get all feedback because it's family. They're gonna be like, I didn't like when you did that. I didn't like when you said that. I didn't like this. I love that. Or they're gonna let me know. As opposed to when you're in class, a lot of times people will leave and just be like, "Oh, it was great," and then you never see them again because they really like the class,
or have something weird pop up on Yelp.
Right, exactly. You're like, what? I didn't even know. So
that's the. I might steal that idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Just drop it in the group chat and send it to the group chat.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
I don't know what it's like if there's a family that doesn't have a group chat of some sort,
right?
Like,
I don't know how y'all function, like
at all, because I can't keep up with everything, include like my own life, and then trying to still stay in touch with everybody individually.
Right.
Oh, let me send a quick little group message. Check in with everybody real quick. So I like that you utilized it like that.
Yeah, that's why we started, because it was like during the pandemic, and we were tired of sending individual messages to everybody. Like, you know what? We're just gonna send one message. Hey, how's everybody doing? If something's wrong, you comment, and we all can get you going. Because I'm not calling 15 people to talk. No, I'm not doing that. So
at all. That takes so much energy.
Right, exactly. And then you get that cousin that wants to talk, and so you're home for 2 hours. It's like, I got other people to call.
Oh, or other things to do, or I just wanted to lay down for a minute.
Or just chill. I didn't want to talk for 2 hours,
Exactly. So tell me when Reiki found its way into everything that you've been doing.
Reiki found its way into my life when I was a kid. But I didn't know it was Reiki. Because, I grew up, I used to go down, because I have family in South Carolina. So I used to go down to South Carolina, family of ministers, they always talk about laying hands, and they would always talk about this energy and laying hands. And they were like, oh, you have this calming spirit about you. You have this thing about, when you touch people, they calm, blah, blah, blah. So I was doing that like all my life since I was a kid. And then like, I want to say 2010, someone told me about Reiki. And I was like, what is that? And they were like, oh, yeah, it's just this exchange of energy. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So they they did it. Like I had a Reiki. So I was like, well, okay, we'll just do it or whatever. So I was like, wait a minute, I've been doing this forever. Oh, that's what Reiki is? Okay, well, let me go get certified and do this, because this is what I've been doing my whole life. So that's where it came through. It's like, it's something that I've been doing my whole life. I just didn't have a name for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I got into it. I've been doing it, and I just kept progressing, and that's how I got to where I am. I hate the term Reiki master for some reason.
I've always cringed with it too, because I don't ever feel like it's possible to truly master anything.
Right, exactly. Especially with Reiki, because it's different for each person. Like everybody's style is different. You have the basics of what you're doing, but everybody's style is different. So I can't say I'm a master at it. But once you get to a certain level, you have to call yourself something. So it's like, if everybody else is calling it master, I guess I have to go. But I'm in the process of trying to redefine what that is, because a lot of Black people, when I say I do Reiki, they're like, what is that? Oh, no. And then I'm like, oh, it's like, then when I explain it to them what it is, they're like, oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah. Don't do that. So I'm in the process of redefining what it is and who we are in relation to that. So.
And this is why representation matters, because
exactly.
I felt the same about, all of yoga, like mostly the asana, former cheerleader, and always, stretching and, trying to take tumbling classes and doing all these things to, warm the body for, all of that other stuff. And I'm like, so I've been doing all of these things already and just didn't know, the take a deep breath, or 3 deep breaths or whatever to calm your anger, because I am very much an Aries. Like the temper gets hot, so it's like sit still, take a few deep breaths. Like that's pranayama and meditation. And I'm like, how was I supposed to know all of that when I didn't have people that looked like me or
Mm-hmm.
understood the way that I live to explain that those are all the same things.
Right, exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get, because like I said, I've been teaching yoga and doing the meditation on my own, but I wanted to get certified so that I could go into these spaces. Because, as you know, in this world, in this side of the world, yoga is predominantly a white, female run industry. So I felt like I needed that paper or that certification to go into these spaces, because they're not gonna just let me walk in there and just do it. But I wanted to
Yeah.
be a representation of people who look like me, people who talk like me, people who dress like me, so they can feel like they're comfortable in those spaces. They feel like, oh, somebody else is doing it. Okay, cool. Somebody, he looks like me, he talks like me, he acts like me. Oh wow, okay, he's doing it. It's cool. Then I can do it too. So that's my whole goal and purpose of getting the certification and teaching in all these studios that I'm teaching in, because most of the time I'm the only guy there and the only black person, especially the only
Yep.
black guy there. So I feel like, and it's a two-edged story, because it's great that I'm there because I get to run my class the way I want to run them. If I want to play certain music, I get to play, whatever music I want to play, talk to them however, I feel comfortable. But in the same token, it's like I'm the only one there. So I feel like everything I do is a representation of them. Like I
Yeah.
can't go wrong. And it's a lot of pressure in that. Like I can't mess up.
Yeah.
Like this flow has to be perfect, because they're going to look at me and be like, see, I told you they couldn't do it. And it's a lot of pressure in that. So
It's rough. And I can agree with everything that you just said, because I started teaching for a lot of those same reasons. Is I wanted to, first of all, understand the lingo, because, yoga is all in a completely different language.
Right.
And not understanding what posture names were and how to correlate them to, more colloquial things. I wanted that information and just a deeper understanding of the history of it.
Right.
But then the purpose of it all was to expose more people that look like us to the practice, but also expose people that don't look like us to the fact that we do the practice too.
Yes.
And get them involved in diversifying their exposure to, so many other people, because there's far too many studios out there that don't hire people of color. And that really kind of hinders everybody's experience, in my opinion. I feel like it is extremely important to have different people from different cultures, different walks of life, so that you have a more worldly understanding of society.
Right.
Because that's important.
Yeah, you got to be well-rounded. And the thing that used to drive me crazy, it doesn't as much anymore, is that when I would go into a studio to teach a class, I've literally had students ask me if this is my first time like in the studio. I'm like, I'm the teacher. Like, so I wouldn't say, I'm like, oh, it's okay. And I would just go right up to the front of the class, put my mat down, like, okay, guys, let's get started. I'm Mars. I'm your teacher today. And then the look on their face, like, what? Like, I've literally had people like, I would walk in, I've had like the front desk people, like if I'm doing like a guest spot at a studio, they'll be like, oh yeah, let me show you around the studio. Oh, is this your first time ever taking a class? I'm like, no, I've taken a few classes before. I've done this here and there. And then they'll be like, oh, well, the teacher will be in shortly. I'll never give them my name. I'll just be like, oh. So then when the class starts, I'll just walk up to the front. I'll be like, hey, yeah, my name is Mars. I'm going to be leading the class today. So we're going to get started. We're going to do this. Now they look at me like, what? Like,
surprise!
Oh my God. And they're always shocked. I'm like, but we like started this and that and that. But that goes all out the window. And that's why I try to do a comedic yoga workshop. I'm going to start this year. And last year I did it every quarter. This year I'm going to do it like every month at a different yoga studio, so they can see. And I give the history of it, and then I do a nice little flow to show the correlation between the Indian version, the African version, how they're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And just show the correlation between the two. So they'll know that what they're doing is African. It's not just something somebody's made up. So
exactly.
We are a part of it.
I feel I get that. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but folks tend to turn their nose up to Kemetic yoga, thinking that it's something that was made up. I'm like, have you not looked
Yes.
at hieroglyphics themselves? Like, they literally
Right. I think,
postures.
and it's crazy that you said it, because the first time I did it, when I moved here, the first time I did it, I had a student, his name, I don't want to give his name, but he's always been to my class. He's really a great guy. And he said, "Oh, I thought it was a part of Kwanzaa. Like, I thought it was just like," I'm like, "No,
Bless your heart. Bless
Kemetic
your
yoga."
heart.
I'm like, "No, it's not a part of Kwanzaa. It's not made up like Kwanzaa. It's a real thing. Kemet is a real place. It was the name of Egypt." I went through this whole thing. He's like, "Oh, okay. I heard of Kemetic yoga before, but I thought it was just something somebody just made up." I'm like, "No, it's real. It's a real thing. It's not just a name."
And I
But that's what they
mean,
think.
and I could go really broad scale here. Like, what isn't made up?
Right. Everything is made up. Everything is made
is,
up.
like,
Somebody invented everything. Even the word they were saying, somebody made it up. Was like, "This is what I'm going to say." And
Like,
then everybody started saying it.
questioning something that ancient's authenticity is just really funny to me. It's really funny.
He really was and the crazy thing was, like, he was serious. He was really serious. Like, "Oh, I thought it was just a part of Kwanzaa. You guys, it's not like one of the principles of Kwanzaa." I'm like, "What? No, sir." Because
We have a long way to go.
At first, I was totally confused. I was like, "Where are you going with this? Like, I don't know what you mean. I'm confused, sir. Like, explain yourself."
Like I said, bless your heart.
Right.
I mean, at least you know what Kwanzaa kind of is.
Right. Okay. Well, at least you've heard of Kwanzaa. Okay, so
Right.
you're trying. You just haven't read enough. But I see you read something. It's okay.
So will you take your Kemetic yoga workshop virtually? Asking for myself.
Yes, I am. I'm going to take it virtually. I'm going to offer it virtually. I'm going to probably start February. You know what?
Nice.
You challenged me. So February, I'm going to do this today.
I feel
I'm
honored.
going to set it to where it's February, because it's Black History Month. It'll probably be towards the end of the month, but I will be offering a virtual Kemetic workshop, or I like to call it specialty class, because sometimes when you say workshop, people think it's like you're just sitting there learning. I mean, you are, but it's more corporate or business when you say workshop. So I like to say specialty class. So I'm going to be offering a virtual specialty class of Kemetic yoga. I'll get the details over to you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That gives me an idea, because in the past, this platform offered classes virtually and in person. And life kind of carried me away. So I hadn't had the ability to bring that back, but I wanted to get some Kemetic yoga in there. So I'm probably going to reach out to you for that.
Okay. Yes. We can definitely work something out. We can, get together, even if you want some meditation or something, as well. We can definitely work something out. I'm always down for collaboration. I'm always down to work with people.
Yes.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
That's exciting. How have you seen the practices that you teach affect your life and your interactions with society? Like, how has it molded you through the years?
Okay, so we'll start with meditation. Like I said, I grew up in DC. I'm born and raised in DC. It's a really hectic place to live. Like, it's cool to visit, but to live is really hectic. So I dealt with a lot of like anger issues, all that good stuff. So I went to therapy for it, and finally broke down, went to therapy for like just something wrong. So I started doing meditation, and I've seen how it's changed me, like how things that used to upset me and I would just go off. Now it's like, okay, it's whatever. It's part of the universe. It's a way to flow. I've learned breath work, like the box breathing and the, steady I forget the word, but it's like the 5-7-9 breathing and things like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like I'm able to control my emotions through breath. So I've seen my meditation practice over the years change me. But the great thing is I've seen it change others. Like when I lived in DC, I used to work in DC public schools, and I would do meditation in the schools And I would literally see from the beginning of the semester the kids that were doing it on a constant basis that were always because they would give me the kids who were always getting in trouble. They had no other alternative. So I was like, okay, I'll take them. We'll do some yoga meditation. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I took them off your hands for at least an hour. So we would do that, and I've seen their transition from beginning of the school semester. They're yelling, they're disrupting class, they're acting out. But by the end of the semester, with that yoga and meditation, they're breathing through their issues. They're pausing. I like literally see the change in them. And that's the biggest thing to me and how I've affected people. And it's great. And I love it. But yoga has helped me learn patience. Oh my God. Yoga has taught me so much patience because trying to get these poses, and especially when I started teaching and trying to teach people to pose, because in my head, I hear it one way. But then when I tell it and I see them, I'm like, no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
So learning to like, okay, this is your body, your practice. You do it the way you want to do it, and giving the patience to, and the confidence to allow them to just do what they do. Even though I'm saying one thing, and then just understanding, okay, I say leg up, but I didn't say left or right. I don't know. So things like that. Like in my head, I know what I'm doing, but getting it to translate. So, but connecting to society, it's been tough here in Raleigh because it's not that many. I mean, I'll take that back. It's a lot of Black yogis in Raleigh. It's a lot of yogis of color in Raleigh, but they aren't connected. They're kind of scattered all over the place. We know each other, but we don't really work together as much as we could. And like when I was in DC, we had our own collective of people. We would all support each other. Hey, I can't do a class. Hey, can you do this? This and that. Or can you show me how to do this? Can we do this? So we all work together. So I'm trying to build that now here in Raleigh.
Yeah.
So we can all connect. We can, some of the older yogis can give us younger ones wisdom on how to do contracts, how to get into these other studios, or how to do our own thing. And we can help them as far as social media and stuff like that. So I'm trying to get that collective going. That's what I'm doing for the community. So, yeah.
That's so dope. It's hard out here in these streets.
It's definitely hard and it's crazy because we'll have so many yogis. Like, I'll be like, hey, do you know so-and-so? They're like, yeah, I know this person. I'm like, well, why aren't we all working together? If we know each other, the area is not that big. So we know each other. Why aren't we putting on events together? Like, you do sound baths, I do meditation, you do yoga, you do this. So why don't we just put together a festival or put together a conference and just so people can see that what we're doing and see that we're not just a little monolith here and here at these different studios. We can actually get together, maybe do our own studio. We can do all that stuff.
Yes.
So it's creating, tough, but it's working.
Yeah, creating a larger community from smaller subsets can be difficult to get all of them together. Even if it's small subsets, it could be even smaller than that, like you said, where it's just, the one person that comes to every yoga class at a certain space, or the one Black teacher that, is in a certain space. It's difficult to get everybody in together, but when it happens, oh man, is it magical? And to just see the impact it has on everyone around. Like, I hate that it does sometimes create a little bit of a spectacle, but sometimes that's needed for people to just, open their eyes and just be like, hey, everybody's human, having this very human experience, and we're trying to get through all of this shit the best way we can. And we can use the same tools. And it's fine. No one owns anything.
And it's like, I feel like we know each other, but it's almost like a competition. And I don't want it to ever be a competition. Like, yeah, you do this and I do that, but we don't even do the same type of stuff. Yes, we both teach yoga, but you teach something totally different than what I teach. So we can always work together. Even if we teach the same thing, you're going to have a different style. Your flair is going to be different. Like, everything is different. Like, so we need to work together to make it happen. And I just feel like sometimes it's a competition, and we really got to get out of that. Yoga is an exercise, or we're competing against each other. And it's like, no, it's not that way. It doesn't have to be that way. you know.
Yes. The practice is so healing
Mm-hmm.
that I love when people finally have that aha moment, but I sometimes just wish it would just happen immediately. But
Right.
I mean, if we got to find a gateway in, then we'll find the gateways in, but we'll shift them gears real quick.
Right. Yeah. It takes a while. Like, and my aha moment was just when it took a while for me to get to my aha moment. Like, I have been practicing for at least 3 years.
Yeah.
And again, it became like an exercise for me, where I wasn't doing it to enlighten myself. I wasn't looking at the other limbs. I was just looking at the actual practice, like this pose, that pose. Okay, I'm stretching, because I was doing this part of my physical therapy. So I never looked at it any other way. But then when I started putting everything together, and I started going to classes that were putting everything together, like the meditation, the affirmations, I'm like, oh, this is better. So I went to one class, and it was towards the end of the class, and she put us in pigeon pose, and she was just giving us these words of affirmation, and we were breathing. I was like, oh my God. So I literally like just started crying, like, right. I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is what I need to do. So it took a couple years before I got to the aha moment. I wish I got there a little sooner, but I mean, it's everybody's time. When you get there, you get there, as long as you get there. So
yeah. Very similar experience over here too, because I also started yoga as a recommendation from my therapist and a few other friends. And I knew it was something more than just the physical movements, because after every class, I just felt like I could actually, take on the day and not feel so heavy in my heart. And the postures were definitely enticing to keep me there, because I was still holding on. I was still coaching cheerleading at the time, so I was still involved in the world. So I'm like, I might still have some, little spark left in me. Let me get into these handstands, these arm balances, and, this cool stuff, because, I felt, I still felt like I had that athletic bone in my body.
Right. You're like, I can still do this.
Yes. But there was so much more happening outside of the physical stuff that I'm like, there's no way I can stop doing this, because I know I'm going to go back into a mentality that's not good for me. And I want to share this with everybody and learn so much more as I go, because I know I'll never know it all.
Right. Exactly.
Ever. But I'm going to always be on a, quest for gathering as much information as I can, because this thing is damn amazing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, and I always struggle with that, because I have like people who will be like, oh, can you show me meditation, or can you be my mentor? I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I can do that, because I feel like I'm not at that point.
Yeah.
Where I can, even though, yes, I've done this and I've been doing it for a while, they just see the experience, but I'm like, I don't know if I can guide you in the path that you need to go. We can go together. Like, we can walk this road together, but I don't know if I can guide you in that way. So it's that line. And I'm like, I need a mentor now that I'm looking for, but also like, I don't know if I can be a mentor. I can try it. We can walk together, but I can't guide you to where you need to go.
I think you have it in you.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that imposter syndrome creeping up. That's what's happening. Yeah.
But it could just be not the right time.
Yeah.
And everything happens when it's supposed to. So
exactly.
I see it for you. I definitely do. Okay. Yeah. You give off really good energy to provide guidance for someone.
Right.
And I mean, you're already doing it with your classes.
Yeah.
It's just more on a individualized scale.
Right.
Because I've had people ask me the same thing, and it's a trip to even think that somebody sees what you do and says, hey, I want to learn from them. And I'm like, really?
Right. Right. Like me? Like, I'm the one? Like, you really talking about me? Like that's who you want to, especially somebody that you've never met.
Yeah.
Like this happens on Instagram a lot. Like I get that on Instagram a lot. Like a lot of DMs like, hey, I'm a young yoga instructor. I see what you're doing. Can you like give me some tips? I'm like, yeah, I can give you some tips, but you know, we can walk together, but I can, I don't want to guide you because I don't know. I think it's kind of the imposter syndrome where I feel like I'm not as good as I maybe really am because I'm like, I don't want to mess up somebody's life.
But I like your approach though. Like we are doing this together because I always feel that even though it may be a mentor-mentee relationship, there's always going to be stuff that you're learning from each other.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it can totally be a symbiotic kind of a relationship where it's not necessarily, you being a sage or a guru or something like that. You're just imparting and sharing what it is that you've experienced with this person, and they might do the same. And it usually happens anyway, just in conversation.
Yeah, it just flows that way.
I like that. I like that aspect or that approach. So, like, see, you're already doing it.
It's already working. So
it's already working. You already got your approach. You already know what to do.
Right.
Just go ahead and do it.
Now I just have to make it official. Got it. See?
Boom.
That's something else I got to work on today.
And if that title thing is what's, the hang up, then scrap it.
Right. I'll figure out another name for it. So,
yep.
Just
say it's guidance or something. I don't know.
There you
Advice.
Go. There you go. I am. Oh, you know what? I could be an advisor.
There you go.
I'm cool with being an advisor or a counselor. So that works for me. So there we go. It is. So that's something else I got to work on today. So I got Hermetic yoga, and now I have this. See? You're giving me a whole list of things to do. See? Okay.
My bad. I'm sorry. I don't want to add to people's to-do list already, But hey, if it's going to put you in a path of something that's aligned for you, I'm for it. For it.
It's all good. It's all good.
So have you taught or offered your services to your hometown, DC?
Yes, I did. And I was when I was there, and I try to go back like every quarter to do like some type of event or attend some type of event. But DC is a weird place because it's a lot of Black yogis or yogis of color in DC that come together, and we're doing a lot of things. But it's because it's becoming so gentrified that we just don't have our own space. So we're like in these white spaces pretty much for this one event, So it's a couple spots in Maryland, kind of like right outside the city, but I really want to do it in the city. I really want to focus on like where I grew up, like in Southeast, Southwest DC, like in that area, because they need it the most.
Yeah.
So I do go back like every quarter, like every couple months, and I'll put on an event or, try to do something for the city.
That's what's up.
So, yeah. But I'm trying to make it more of a regular thing because, I'm not that far. I'm only a couple hours away, so I'm not that far. So I can always shoot back and go, do things. So I'm trying to make it more of a regular thing.
That's easy. Yeah. A couple hours ain't nothing.
Right.
Because I'm not from Dallas. I'm from Iowa. And it's hard to try to plan something back at home. Talk about, being surrounded by snow. And I don't just mean the precipitation.
That is a color. I like to call them color desert. That is a color desert for real. Like.
Yeah. And it has its pockets, like everywhere does.
Right.
But it's still very much, heavily or densely one-sided.
Right.
But being down here in Texas, still kind of the same.
It's still the same kind of.
I'm in Dallas, so it's a lot more, or I guess, what do they call us? A purple zone instead of like red.
Yeah.
So a lot more liberal here and diverse, but you can still see that the scale is tipped.
Right. But, so in Iowa, what is the yoga scene like in Iowa?
I wish I had a better answer for you because I wasn't a part of it for very long before I moved.
Okay.
Because I started practicing in late 2013 and I moved in early 2015.
Okay.
So the majority of the time that I spent practicing was at one particular studio. And there were a small handful of us. Because I would take my friends.
Right. Okay.
My co-coach with she and I started our practices together, and my mom, practiced with me whenever I would go home. And the place that I got my 200-hour offered community classes that would often be extremely diverse. So I felt a little bit better about not always being the only in the room. Even though there were always those experiences, and I, grew up with that experience. So it wasn't anything foreign to me.
Right.
But moving down here, I kind of had an expectation for it to be different. But starting out, it wasn't. And it still kind of isn't. Like, even as an instructor, it's whenever I do get someone Black in the room, I'm like, give me a hug, please. Right. Oh my God, it is good to see you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That moment when you lock eyes, you're like, okay, yes.
Man, exactly. But yeah, like that experience in Iowa was not, far away from my experience with school, work, social life, all that stuff. Because they're everywhere.
See, my experience growing up was a little different. I'm in DC, and I honestly, I would say when I was born till I think my first white teacher was 8th grade. Wow. That was the first time I had a white teacher. First time I had a white principal or anything like that. And that was only because I started playing baseball. So I went to another school in Virginia. Man. So that was the only way. Honestly, I grew up around nothing but Black people the entire time. If we went down to Capitol Hill or something like that, we would see them. But in my neighborhood, in my school, at my church, at my grocery store, nothing but Black people. Man. And then I decided to go to a PWI. So I go to University of South Carolina, and it's literally 2% Black. And I'm like, what is going on?
And everybody knows each other.
Total culture shock. Yeah, it was a total culture shock. Me getting used to the Southern culture and me getting used to being around all these other people. And it was just a total shock. Yeah. And so that took me a while to get used to. But then I realized as I was moving and the things that I like to do, when I play baseball, when I, did yoga, I noticed I'm going to be the only one there. I just had to come to that grips that, okay, I'm going to be the only one here. If I see somebody else, we definitely need to be friends. We definitely need to connect because I'm probably never going to see you again. So we need to connect. So that was it. It was different for me, but it's you get used to being in that space and you learn how to navigate that space and do what you need to do to get things done. But then you also want to bring other people into that space. So you got to feel comfortable yourself before I can bring others into that space.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I think I've done that same thing with every avenue of it, trying to connect with other Black people in school, in work. Because I know there was one particular job where all of us in our positions were kind of isolated in a warehouse. But there was one other Black guy that worked in a different department than I did, but we still had to communicate with each other because we were involved in shipping and handling and things. So I would always make sure hey, you good down there? We gotta stay connected because within this office we're the only 2 people of color, and they gonna try it. They gonna try it, and we gotta have each other's back because not happening.
We gotta protect each other at all times, no matter what's going on. So whenever I get a student of color or a Black student in my class, I make sure I'm like, yo, this is my Instagram, this is my LinkedIn, this is find me, stay connected. Even if you don't come back to this class, stay connected. I have some people who came to my class, but didn't feel comfortable in the space. But we're still connected. We still keep in touch. Like, hey, keep the practice going. Hit me up if you need anything. You know, we gonna stay connected regardless of how you feel in this space. You know.
Oh yeah.
Because
yeah,
it's
I've
not
had that
we...
experience where I was teaching at a spot that was asana focused and, you know, yoga as a workout kind of a thing. And I tried my best to fight it as much as I could. But there were so many people that, you know, enjoyed the classes because of the instructors and not necessarily the methods. And we've all stayed connected, you know, even to this day. And it's just, it says something about how, you know, community can be built even in adverse, you know, circumstances. Like,
it's a lot to stay connected, but it's a lot of work, especially when, you know, it's like a one-off, like y'all see them once and maybe I may see them again in a couple months, but it's hard to stay connected, but I try as much as possible. Like I've started building networks and making little collectives of people like, hey guys, you guys are all in this area. Let's do something together. Let's work something out. So I try to do that as much as possible because I want them to see other people like us doing it. So they won't feel as isolated, you know? They won't feel like, oh, I don't know if I want to go to this class because I'm going to be the only one there. I'm not going to be comfortable. Okay. So I even started like a group meet with some of them. I'm like, when you're going to a class, a new studio, just drop it in there.
Yeah.
We'll all come out to that class.
That's
if we can.
dope.
We'll all come out to that class, or we'll all, you know, try to set up something so that you won't be the only one there. So at least we're all uncomfortable together. Like we'll figure it out. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to connect as many people together as possible.
Nice. That is so dope. I want to pivot for a second.
Okay.
I want to talk about the experience that you provide as an instructor. If I were to walk into one of your classes, whatever is your favorite to teach, what would that experience be like?
Okay. So my favorite class to teach is on Sunday mornings, I do a restorative Reiki class. So actually it's a restorative meditative Reiki class. That's my favorite class to teach. It's supposed to be it started off as just a restorative and a Reiki session. Then it got switched to a meditation session. Then they kept switching it up. So I'm like, the name doesn't matter. Just come to the class. You're going to give some restorative, some meditation, and some Reiki. So the setup for the class is I come in, I have like, usually when you're checking in, I have some R&B playing. So you know off gate what's going to happen. So I'll play like some SZA, I'll play like her, I'll play some jazz, so I'll play some smooth R&B, Daniel Caesar, some stuff that's going to relax you, but it's still, you know what the vibe is, right?
Yeah.
So you're coming into this space. That's when you're checking in, you're putting out your mat, you're getting yourself together. Then when it starts, I switch off from the R&B to like a lo-fi hip hop chill beat, and I'll start playing that, and I'm flowing, and I'm just letting you know, hey, this is who I am. I'm Mars. I'm gonna be your instructor. We're gonna do this, this, and this. So now I need you to relax. I was dropping into some meditation for like the first 3 to 5 minutes, just some breath work. I just want you to breathe. I want you to relax. I want you to let go of everything else that's going on around you. Just breathe, relax. I got you. You don't have to do anything for the next 45 minutes. I'm going to do everything for you. Just relax. So then we get into it. We're restorative, you know, you're holding a pose for like 10 minutes. So while you're holding a pose, I'm going around doing my Reiki, you know, laying hands, hovering over you. I'm telling you some breath work. We're doing some breath work. That's for like 45 minutes. Like the entire session is just breath work. I'm giving you affirmations as I go through. Because I have what's called an affirmation of the day. And I used to post it on Instagram. I need to get back to Instagram. I used to post on Instagram, but every session, at the beginning of the session, affirmation of the day, I am strong, I am powerful, I am worthy. Those are going to be just solid. And then I say them, I'm going to just sprinkle them in throughout the entire class. And I sprinkle in different ones throughout the entire class. Like I am loved, all kinds of things. So then you feel it. So then as you're going through, then we get to the end, Savasana. It's time for you to ground yourself. Let go. I throw on Lift Me Up by Rihanna. Let you release everything. Boom. Half the time, they don't even leave class like right away.
Oh, yeah.
I literally have to tell them,
yeah.
okay, class is over. You can stay as long. I have to like literally say like 3 or 4 times. You can stay as long as you like, but you know, we have another class coming in. So I do that. That's the way the class flows. That's my favorite class because it's such a release for people, and I can see the release for people from when they came into class and that Sunday morning, anxious, nervous. They got all this built up energy from the time that they leave, where they're laying there for like 5 extra minutes and just resting. I love it. So that's the flow of the class. Every class that I do is a little different, but they all have the same thread of affirmations throughout, releasing all the energy, selling themselves. That's how it goes.
That sounds divine. Like just sitting here listening to you talk about it, I'm like trying to envision myself in that experience. Like, yeah, I'd fall asleep and just stay there cradled in my little bolster setup, whatever I got, and just I'd be one of those that'd be reluctant to move.
And that's the thing. I tell people in my class at the beginning of class and throughout the class, I tell people it's your body, your practice. So you can make this class as hard or as easy as you like. If you see a pose, you like, ooh, this feels good. And you want to stand that pose for the rest of the class, do it. If you want to follow me and do these different things, fine. But if you want to do child's pose from the time we start until you leave, if that's comfortable for you, then do it. Do whatever you like. You know, I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to ask you I may come up and ask if you're all right, but I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to make you do this or make you do that. I'm not going to do any of that. This is your space. This is your time to be you. So I sprinkle that in throughout the whole class.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, I am looking forward to experiencing your classes one day.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself going with all of this in the near future? I'm not even gonna give you a time frame. Just in where do you plan to go? Yeah.
At some point, I see myself opening a studio. I know I see myself virtually doing more, having more offerings virtually. I see myself in the next couple of years traveling, like taking this show on the road, traveling to different parts of the country, other countries, just spreading it that way. And the reason why I want to open a studio because I want to have a base of where everything is, like a headquarters type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I want to open my own studio, but the thing is, the type of yoga that I do is not the most popular yoga. So I don't know if a studio will be feasible in that sense. But I definitely see myself doing more online, doing more virtual offerings, doing more, pop-ups in Dallas or, California, wherever, just going and doing different spots at different places. That's my goal I set a goal within the next 4 years. I want to be able to do more traveling and take this on the road. So that's what I see myself doing, just spreading the word, spreading the gospel, and letting everybody experience the Meditate with Mars experience. So.
All right. So a question that has become kind of a staple for this whole thing is it's a 2-part question, and I'm going to give you practice on your new advice rule.
Okay.
What advice do you have for those that are looking to start a yoga practice and those who have been in practice and want to transition into instruction?
Okay. So, we'll start with the first. For those what's the first one? Those who have been in practice?
Who want to start a practice.
Okay. So my advice to anyone who wants to start a practice is to study it first. Find what resonates with you first. So if you're an athlete and you're into, doing a lot of movement and a lot of stuff, you might want to try power flow, or you might want to try, hot yoga or something like that. But if you're a person that likes to rest and relax, you might try yoga, or you might try yin or restorative. but also I would also advise you in the same token, find what you like, but try different styles.
Yes.
That way you can come up with your own style. You can mix and match and figure out what you like. I would say, and to get started is just to get started. Literally, like that's the only way to do it. Like you can watch videos online, but there's nothing like in-person instruction when you're beginning.
Yeah.
Because online they're going to show you one way to do it. But when you're in person, you have modifications, you have actual hands-on instruction. And that is, if you're beginning, that's really something that you're going to need, because you're going to look at a pose. You're like, oh yeah, I can do that. Put my leg here. Oh, wait, this is not right. Like, oh, this hurts. And you realize, okay, because my hand is not where it needs to be, or this and that. So I would suggest if you're beginning, look up the different styles until you find the style that you really like and really resonates with you, and literally just do it. Like, I hate when people say that, but literally that's the only way to do it, is just to, you have to go to class. You have to do it. You have to just put it out there.
Yeah. There's no leaning into it.
Right. You just have to go for it. And for someone who wants to get into instruction, who's already been doing it, the best thing to do is practice, practice, practice. I know people say all the time, but it's different. Like, you take class, but it's different when you're in front of the class and you're leading the class, because you're thinking about modifications. You're thinking about 2 poses ahead of what you're going to do. You're thinking about, oh, how long did I have on this side? How long? Oh, wait, am I on the left side? Am I on the right side? Wait a minute. That was supposed to be 3 minutes. Uh-oh, wait, the time is off. So you have, oh, wait, the music is playing. Okay, what song is this? Okay, wait. So you have all these things going on. So if you really want to get into instruction, you have to have a flow and a sequence. You have to practice that flow and sequence till it's to where it's like nothing. It's just like clockwork. And also, you have to know yoga. You have to know what you're talking about. Like, you have to know the different poses. You have to know the breath work. You have to know the flow. But also, just like I would tell a beginner, you have to find what works for you. You have to find that practice that you want to teach that works for you. Because you may like vinyasa to actually practice vinyasa, but you may want to teach something else, So you have to find that balance. And once you find that balance, everything else will fall into place with practice and with repetition. So I would definitely encourage you to just essentially study and practice. Because when I first started, I didn't really practice a lot, like have my own personal practice. I would only practice when I'm setting up a sequence. And I felt like that wasn't enough. At first, it was cool. It got me by. But then eventually it's like, this is not working, because I'm neglecting my personal practice, and it's affecting everything else. Because I would just go in and do a sequence. Like, okay, I'm going A, B, C, D. We're going to do it this way. It doesn't matter what the vibe is in a class, because I've already set the sequence. But then when I started doing my own personal practice, I was able to change it. Okay, I feel the vibe of the class. Okay, well, it's a lot of beginners. I might not want to do this pose. It's a lot of people who like to do this pose. Oh, I see what they're holding this pose a little longer. Maybe I can lean into that. So I would definitely say practice, understand the craft, and don't just lean on the poses to get you through. Because, we know it's 8 limbs of this whole yoga thing, and poses is just one of them. So, know that posing is just not going to get you through. Just saying, oh, we're going to go into Warrior 2. You have to explain why you're going into Warrior 2. You have to explain the breath work involved in it. How it's going to help. What is the modification? How is this helping someone in their life? Because Warrior 2 is not just something that you do with your arms out. It's a reason why. So you have to kind of be able to explain that.
Tapping into your own body awareness. All
right,
that stuff.
Exactly. Yes. So that way, once you do that, you'll start to develop your own flow, develop your own system, develop your own following, and then you're good.
See? You're a mentor.
Right. I feel it. I'm an advisor. I'm going to add that to my LinkedIn. I'm going to add that in there, advisor.
Go for it. Well, Mars, this has been really, really fun. Where can we find you on social media and in Raleigh?
Yes. So social media, across all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere. Even on there's the new one called Swell. Some type of video thing. I haven't even done it yet. I just signed up. But all that is Meditate with Mars. You'll find me across all that. My website, meditatewithmars.com.
Okay.
You can find me there as well. In Raleigh, you can find me in a couple different places. I am at Yoga Selective, which is downtown Raleigh. I am at Rex Wellness Center, which is in Knightdale, which is like right outside of Raleigh. I am at Three House Studios in Durham. I am all over. Anyway, I'm all over the triangle. That's what we like to call this, the triangle. It's Raleigh, Durham, like Cary, all these different places. I'm all over. I'm the only one named Mars. I guarantee if you look up Mars or you ask them about Meditate with Mars or Mars, you'll find me. It's not that many of us. I'm the only Mars, so they'll be able to direct you. But yeah, but definitely social media, Meditate with Mars, my website, meditatewithmars.com.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate you being a part of this new family.
Definitely.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Be sure to join us next week for another fabulous interview and episode. See you later.
Bye.
Hey there, Tierney again. I know you just finished the podcast episode and you're probably wanting to just go about your business or listen to the next one, but I have some exciting news. We're monetizing the podcast now. I know. This is so cool. This is so cool. But anyway, with that said, we are now able to take donations directly from the podcast. So if you're listening on Spotify, head to the show notes, and there is a link there that you can click to provide your support. If you are not listening on Spotify, we still got you covered. You can either go to the website or go to our link tree by way of our Instagram bio link. Your money would go towards supporting this platform in all of its ways, keeping the podcast alive, giving us the ability to offer programming in the future, and those programs will look like classes, workshops, and so much more. There's a lot planned for this platform and can't do it without your help. So if you do have it within you to help us out, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I appreciate everything that you all do for this community here. Be blessed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Yoga in Black podcast. New episodes air every Tuesday. Next episode, I'll chat with Jaleesa Smallwood. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor, and iHeartRadio, or check us out on YouTube. Want to connect with us? Head to our website, www.yogainblack.net, on Instagram @yoga.inblack, and on Facebook as Yoga in Black. See you next week.